Hey guys, so today's solve critiques are going to be a different style from usual. Normally I point out things like look ahead and whether I think a certain insert was good or not, but today is all going to be about efficient F2L inserts, because until you're like sub 20 or sub 15, around that level, then look ahead is not the most important thing. So hopefully from this video you'll be able to learn a lot of ways to insert F2L pairs efficiently. Alright, now let's get started. So for the first scramble, here are the red and green cross pieces, and you notice that green should be over here instead. So what you did is like this, move red away, move green over, and then go back. So then you inserted blue here like this. So this is all good except for the fact that you accidentally had this one in flipped. So it's okay, everyone makes mistakes. So what you did was do F like this, then you inserted like this. Then you had this case first. There are three good ways to pair this up. What you did instead was like this. So you took the edge out and then you paired them together, then you inserted. So the way you did it took a lot of moves. So instead I'm going to show you a few ways you can pair this up. And you can recognize this by the fact that the stickers match here. So you can do it in one of three ways. You can just pick whichever one you like the most. One is like this. So that pairs them up. The next way is by rotating first and then holding them like this and then like that. And the last way is by putting the corner over here and then taking the edge out with U2. So next we had this pair, and normally I recommend doing U moves before doing Q rotations, because typically you'll be able to find the pieces just by doing U. But you did Q rotations first, which slowed you down here. So you found it, and then instead of pairing it up from here into the back by moving it over here, then pairing it up like that, instead, you moved it over here and essentially paired them up in the same way, but it caused you to have two extra cube rotations. So you paired it up like this and then inserted it into the back. So once you recognize the case, try to do it in a way so that you have 1 or 0 cube rotations, because 2 cube rotations is too much for one case. All right, next you went very quickly into the next pair, which was this one and this one, like that. So that was very good, but then you inserted it into the front and left you with this case at the back. So instead, since here you would have to rotate to insert it, I recommend inserting it into the back so that your next slot is at the front. So that's just something to look out for. Typically, back slot inserts are better than front slot inserts because you will get your next case to be in the front. So since you were facing the back, you ended up doing a Y2 to get to the front, which is why I recommended that. Now here to do this pair, you did this. So you took the corner out, then you just paired them up and inserted. Pair them up like that, and then insert. So from here, I'll recommend 3 different ways to insert, and you can just pick whichever one you like the most. One way is to take the corner out with a U prime. That sets up this case. Then the next way is like this. And then the last way is to put the edge over here and then do F sexy sledge without the last move. So just pick whichever one you like out of those 3 ways. Okay, so I've already said a lot about the F2L, so I'm not going to talk much about the last layer because I think F2L is where you should focus. For the second solve, the cross pieces here, 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 and here's green. So green was pretty much already done. What you did was align orange here, and then you moved green over with D2, but before doing the second D prime, you moved the red piece out to make it an easier case, and then you finish off green, then you finish off orange, and then red, like that. Then blue here with F2. Now coming back to the beginning, I'm going to show you what I would have done for the cross. So here's green, and opposite of green, of course, is blue. So we want blue over here. and here's the blue piece. So I would just put it in like that first. So basically what I'm trying to do here is get pieces in correctly relative to each other while ignoring the centers. So now we have orange in here that can go in here pretty easily if I did L prime. So I'll keep that in mind. Then I just want to set red opposite of orange like that. Then all I have to do is do D, insert them both, and then do D again. So that's what I would have done for the cross. All right, so the next thing you did, remember how I said to do U moves instead of rotating? Because here you would have found this one and this one. So instead you rotated first and then you found these two. So this is exactly the same case as in the last solve, so I'm not going to go over it again. You did it the same way as you did in the first solve. So next I would have done this pair, I think, but you saw this pair instead. And what you did, I think you accidentally thought they were going into here. So you rotated first and then paired them up like that and inserted into here. Okay, so of course that was just a mistake. So anyway, you moved on to these two. So for this specific case, what you did was double sexy move, which is good because it pairs them up. So it's good that you know how to pair them up like that. That works a little bit better if it's going from the opposite slot or in the correct slot. So if the edge was already in here or the edge was in the opposite side, and that's actually a pretty good way to pair them up. But from this specific angle, if it's next to the correct slot, what you should do instead is like this. So put them next to each other and do sledgehammer, and that actually pairs them up right away. So you can insert without a rotation. So anyway, you did double sexy move, and then insert it into here. Then of course, just reinserted this one. Next you had this pair. So what you could have done is just do it from the left side, take it out like this, and then you have this pair. So this is easy from here. So what you did instead was put it on the right side, which is a bad habit, because if it's already on the left side, you should just do it from the left side to avoid a rotation. So instead you took it out like this. And from here it's actually okay. You can pair them up like this. But for some reason you rotated twice and did it from the left side. So like this. So I think that just means you weren't sure right away what to do, which is okay, but you should definitely practice doing that entire sequence as one algorithm, all with your right hand or all with your left hand. Okay, for this solve, what you did for the cross, what you noticed is blue and red are both ready to go in, and there are orange and green here. So normally if you have a piece that's ready to go in already, you should do it last, and you'll see why here. So the first thing you did was insert red, like that, then you inserted blue. Now you inserted orange by moving the orange spot over here, moving orange down, and then going back. All right, so at this point, you notice that orange and green actually would have taken a lot of moves to do, while blue and red were pretty easy. So next what you did for green was similar to what you did on the first solve with a flipped edge. You did it like this. Okay, so back to the beginning. What I would have done instead is, because the blue and red are already ready to go in one move each, what you could do is solve orange and green first. So here orange and green can go in like this, and now they're solved relative to each other. Orange is on the right of green, just like the centers are. Then you can just insert red and insert blue. So that's why the easy ones should go in last, because they typically don't move much when you do the other ones. Okay, anyway, so once you finish the cross, then you had this edge and this corner. So just like in the first solve, this is just the same thing. Here they match, and it's also like in the second solve. So what you can do is like this to pair them up, and then you can just insert it into here, like that. Instead, what you did is very similar to what you did the other times. So you did it like this. You took out the edge, then paired them up, and then you inserted into here. So next, what you did was these two. So here, what you can do is this edge needs to be split up more from the corner, so you can split them up like this. And that sets them up. Instead, what you did is something interesting, which is to move the corner away like that. And then now you have this case. So this is very inefficient, and you should learn the other way instead. So then you just continued pairing it up and insert it into the back. All right, now you had this one and this one. So standard, 3 sexy moves. And then this one and this one. So this type of case, I would expect you to know for standard F2L. So when the corner white sticker is facing up and then your edge sticker, red matches red here. So then you just move this slot up, put the corner on top and come back, and that pairs them up. So instead what you did was like this, and then you pair them up afterwards. So since this one is one of the basic cases, you can check algdb.net and go to the F2L section, and they go over all the basic cases there and algorithms for each of them. So you can just look at the basic cases and see if you're doing the correct algorithm for it. But for the other ones that I was talking about where you have like an edge in the wrong slot, those ones are more advanced, which is why you can't just look it up easily. For this solve, your cross solution was pretty good. You have orange here already solved, green can go in one move, and red is going to set up when you put in green, and blue is pretty easy as well. So what you did was go like this to insert green, then before inserting red, you moved the blue out of the way, so that's good. Inserted blue first, and then inserted red. So now the next case I would have seen is this one and this one. So I think you were doing rotations, you probably saw it, but maybe you didn't know the best solution to this case. And so when this edge is attached here in the same color, then you can take it out like this, and then that pairs them up. And you can just insert like this. All right, so instead what you did was do this. I'm not sure what this was for, but anyway, you went and did this corner and this edge. So you took it out like this, and then paired it up with this, and inserted like this. Now this next part is a bit confusing. So you did 2 rotations again, and you paired up this, which is exactly the same F2L case as you just had, but instead you did this, which is a sledgehammer, which does pair them up, but it really confuses me why you didn't do the same solution you did on the previous case. But oh well, so you inserted this into here, then you had these two, so did this, insert, and then to do this one, instead of just inserting it into the back, and in case you didn't recognize that it was already paired together, you can just do U moves to notice it instead of doing cube rotations. So you did a cube rotation, saw it, and then inserted it into the front. So instead you should try to insert it into the back. All right, so what you did for this solve, it was a pretty good cross solution. So you inserted red here, aligned it like that. Then instead of inserting orange right away, you moved it over this way to insert green, then inserted orange. So at this point, what you did was to insert blue, you did it like this. So in this case, to avoid a rotation, what you could do instead to insert blue is to do a wide turn to move the edge over here, insert it into the cross, and then just move the centers all back. Okay, so anyway, you did this, and then you saw these two. So you did a rotation to insert it into the front. So once you see it, you should try to figure out where the slot is and see if you can insert it into the back like this. Okay, so you were facing here, and I think you should have seen these two, so you can set these up pretty easily. But instead, I think you were just doing random moves at this point, and just hoping that something else showed up because you didn't see these two. So really you shouldn't be doing this. Make sure you don't do random moves. If it's random moves, let it always be U moves, because that means at least you're looking for pieces. In this case, they were just totally random. I think you took this edge out like this, but didn't find the corner. So you next took this corner out to see if it goes with anything, and yes, it goes with this. So I talked about this earlier, I'll just say it again. For this one, you can do it like this to pair them up and insert it into the back. So instead what you did is just take the edge out. So remember, from here on out, you shouldn't be trying to take out the edge or take out the corner randomly. Instead, always have a purpose. When you take it out, make sure it pairs up. And if you don't know how to do it in a way that pairs up, then that's when you should experiment and try to remember what you did to get them to pair up. So here you just continued by doing them like this and then insert. So next you have these two, and again, try to take them out in ways that will pair them up. So in this case, you could take it out like this so that they pair up. Instead, you took the edge out like this, which doesn't have them pair up, and then you had to pair them up afterwards, which is like this. And then you have this pair. So what you did here is kind of okay. You noticed how to pair them up by taking them out, so that's good. That's efficient, and you inserted them like this. But for this case, what's hard to notice is instead of taking them out like this, because you notice it pairs up right away, instead you could do it like this. Or from the front angle, it would look like this. Okay, so if you want to find algorithms for how to do these F12 cases efficiently, the ones where there are slotted pieces and it's not the normal F12 cases, I have a few videos that I will link in the description. And if you want to learn more, another thing I suggest doing is watching example solves from basically anyone who you think is pretty fast. And then that's it for this video. See you all next time.